Welcome to Non-Essential Dialogue. I'm Tavyn.
I'm Payne.
And we are film industry professionals that get a kick out of telling stories. As millennials, we don't have the funding for a midlife crisis, so we decided to start a podcast together, like everyone else does. Nothing we really tried up until this point felt very good. So we decided to play into our strengths, which is largely comprised of 12 hours of nonsense on the radio at work while our boss yells at us to shut up. So I decided to finish half my basement.
And I found an old camera I had.
So that we could shoot it here.
You're welcome.
So you explain the process, please.
It's as simple as it looks. Step one, draw a medium. We select from the first box a medium to create. That be TV show, comic, or game. Step two, draw a genre, which gives us insight into what kind of story we're telling. Step three, pull two random prompts from several hundred that then must be included in the narrative.
So many.
Then we tell the story.
So let's just be ready for a lot of non-essential dialogue. We're figuring it out. All right, ready? Okay, so
first we draw the medium. TV show.
Okay.
Next is genre. This tells us what kind of story we'll be telling.
Pick a good one.
Western.
Okay.
I got both of them.
See, there's how fucking many are in here.
So many. Loud.
We're grips, not sound department.
Earphone warning.
What do we got?
Kaiju.
What?
Kaiju.
Like the big monsters, like Godzilla.
Like Godzilla.
Sick. Okay.
And this is a tiny one. Bio-augmentation.
Yo. Okay. So we've got
A TV show. Well, first let's start here. TV show. What do we do for TV show?
so TV.
Doing like a whole season?
No, I think that we should do, and viewership. You'll see it as we pull new things. We'll get to TV. We'll get to movie and things like that. We'll have to kind of figure out the process we're going to do for each one. So I think TV.
Yeah, I think we'll hammer out like
Hard rules.
Yeah, like a hard rules, like what to put on our list of like, here's the things you need to hit while we're making these things.
I think for TV, I think we do pilot. I think we start with a pilot because that allows us to, we lay down the foundation. And it kind of puts us in that headspace of, from my experience with writing and trying to pitch and sell things, is to, you have the pilot, and then from there you can create your overall arcing synopsis for what the season would be. And then later on you can kind of explain further, if that's what the studio wants, to go into multiple seasons and kind of a rough estimated plan of what those would be. It doesn't have to be quite nailed down. But a pilot is where it all starts. A pilot is the fun and the hard. And this is going to be,
well, I think
this is going to be hard.
It will be. But I think that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and label my notes episode 1 and go ahead and schlep on here TV show, just in case anybody forgot here. TV show, Western, Kaiju, and what was the last one?
Bio-augmentation.
Augmentation. Oh boy. But yeah, no, I think it makes a lot of sense to start with the pilot. We sort of like tell the story what it is, like what let's build the world, let's build some characters.
Yeah.
Let's see where it goes from there, and hopefully we tell enough to get an audience interested or executives interested, that kind of thing. Not that will actually happen from this, but that's what you're building it as. That's how we're going to treat things on here. It's like as a TV show, we're going to tell you what we want in it, what we think it would do, like what we would kind of do.
Rough story.
I think we focus more on storytelling in this podcast, but I think it's easy to get like cool insights into like how we would shoot it or what we would do with it. So let's start from the top. TV show. We're going to do a pilot for this. This is Western. It doesn't necessarily say what kind of Western, but I think it would be, so like in old Westerns, you got like episodic stuff that's like sort of Western. You've got like a Bonanza or things like that. And I kind of like the idea of like an episodic Western, but I also like Westworld, like a totally sweeping story that
action.
If you miss one episode, you don't know what the heck's going on.
Very involved, very evocative.
Yeah.
Very
so like,
binge-worthy.
So like maybe
term
figuring out the rest of it will sort of tell us what we're looking for in.
Yeah, I mean, kaiju makes me think like
Kaiju's evolved.
Kaiju number 8. It's making me think Godzilla. It's giving me Mothra.
I think so as well, but I think also kaiju doesn't necessarily have to be like enormous. It also gives like Monster Hunter vibes, like things that people, not actually, but in that game or whatever, people could fight it.
But for real, you die.
But not like 70 stories tall like a Godzilla. I think it's harder to tell a story with.
No, we're talking like Oda Garen.
Cowboys.
We're talking.
I think it's hard to tell a story with cowboys and, Godzilla coming out of the ocean.
Yeah, it's Cowboys versus the Blue Bowl from Paul Bunyan.
Yeah, Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan's a great like American kaiju sort of thing. Like I don't know if people would describe him as kaiju, but
I certainly would.
Pretty big. Him and Babe the Blue Ox. Like that's a pretty American folklore.
What's the word for like it starts with an H, I think. Like not Heisenberg, the type of monster. It's the
Cronenberg.
Cronenberg's
like the big like
yes
gelatinous arms and legs and like body horror kind of deal.
Yeah, we could have some nasty shit going on. But anyway, I think Western. If we're gonna do a Western, I think we go like out there. We're hitting Nevada.
I think it's full
New
Cowboys.
Mexico. We're hitting Texas. We got that vibe.
I think it's American West, full Cowboys. It's not like it would be easy to be like, oh, it's like space cowboys, which is a thing we could do. You could have space cowboys on a different planet, and you could still, like a Firefly sort of. They're clearly cowboys, just in space fighting things on a planet. But I think it's way.
Everything's
I think in my head,
Space Horse,
already
Space
way
Gun.
more interesting to be like American West, old school cowboys.
Well, the story kind of. I like the bioaugmentation puts me into the ideas. Okay, so world building. This world we're American West. We're in that land. We've got 6 shooters. We've got horses. We've got rope. We're wrangling. We've got raiders. We've got gangs and all of these things. I like the idea of this bioaugmentation. Like we've got these creatures. Maybe they're animals that are already in place that have been augmented and have become out of control.
I think that the bioaugmentation stems from whatever caused the kaijus.
Yeah.
Is this bioaugmentation. And I think maybe there's even a cool way to go, oh, the cowboys are capable of fighting these things because they figure out a way to harness whatever that is to make the weapons that they use.
I think we pull from
whatever.
I think we pull from Monster Hunter. I think we pull that concept of there's these creatures. Timeline. How far in the time? How long have these been around? And is it a process of now they're breeding and there are groups of these things? It's no longer this augmented species.
It depends on how far you want to go back to change this timeline. Is this such like a wildly different timeline than our real world that this stuff has always been happening and people have grown up their whole lives wanting to become these heroes? Or is it something like pretty new and just like you make it essentially Western? Like it happened as soon as people started to go west. Either they found these crazy things and who knows how long it's been going on, or something happened when people went west that started this chain of events. And now maybe it's even further in the future, but it's like diverged from us.
I got it.
So it's been this Wild West for years and years and years.
So we're American West. what if we take into play Native American mythologies, monsters, skinwalkers, all of these things. And when the Americans came over, or when the Americans came to, when the foreigners came, when we all came over. I don't know a better way to word it.
Yeah. When people who were not native to the land
when Paleface showed up
and decided that it was their land.
Yeah, we're like, ooh, dibsies. We have these creatures, when they came over, diseases and all those things that followed with. Those could very well have been either maybe they were running away from an infested land and brought whatever that was that caused it, and it grew.
I think that you're on the right trail. I think that the natives of whatever land this takes place in have these stories. But even to them, it's sort of just stories. It's like these things happen, but they're not happening all the time. Mm-hmm. It's not enough. Like maybe they have stories of heroes that rise up to kill some of these things, like Wendigos or whatever. But even those things are few and far between. Like it's not a thing they are actively afraid of. It just sort of for them, maybe it is true, but it's mostly a story to scare children. However, I think when cowboys show up, what actually drove the cowboys to the West?
I think fleeing.
Or
hunting for profit.
It's hunting for profit, but I think what it starts as is exactly what it started as in the West. I think it was the search for gold. There's gold in them there hills. And I think whatever it was that's involved in this land, in these things, there's some sort of thing going on. And when the 49ers get up in the hills and they start mining, they hit something up. They hit whatever this is. This thing, like little leaks here and there, cause these crazy creatures to show up. But that has been few and far between. But it's been for thousands and thousands of years. These things show up. And that's why the native peoples are like, oh, we have these stories of things. We have these creatures.
That's why we use the whole animal when we kill something. It's so these don't come out and try to use them or punish us for it.
And maybe it is this like bio runoff and it gets in real animals and it changes real animals to become these kaiju. So all of our kaijus can be like loosely based off of animals. So you might find this big, disgusting crazed moose creature that is some sort of Wendigo, or it gets into the supply, the water supply, and that's how you end up with jackalopes, like the rabbits with antlers and stuff. Like
what if it's not okay? Same thing, same exact thing almost, but our American West is a borderlands. It is caged in, it's fenced in. There's a Garth Nix wrote a series of novels, the Abhorsen books, and they have to do with this land that is it's modern society everywhere else on Earth. This land is walled in, and it is controlled by, not in our world, but in this world, it's controlled by magic. It's called charter magic that controls it, and old technology that enters it just starts to collapse and reduce back to its original state. That's a whole different thing. But in our world, what if it is fenced in? What if we are modern, but our weaponry doesn't work on these things? However, bio-augmented weaponry from the creatures that inhabit this area can. So these hunters, or these cowboys, go in there, and there's money in it. There's money in going and getting these creatures.
Well, I mean, think about it this way.
So it's the same thing, but it's all those things. So it originated with these hunters coming over,
going
for
getting
west, gold in them, their hills,
dig for gold, and they strike these veins. Yes. We'll come up with whatever this material is.
Yes.
We'll come up with whatever this material is. Yes. I think that's a great starting point where you have these people coming over, and also think like just how cowboys would hunt things for pelts, and then all those pelts were worth it. It's like, how much more worth it is a sable pelt if the sable is 20 feet tall? Like
and has killed dozens of men.
One of those pelts. Not only is some town willing to pay for
Right, and there's towns in this world. There's towns inside these walls.
Yeah, not only is one town willing to pay for you to go kill the creature, but then if you skin the creature, maybe you can augment your own weapons, and you can also sell that fur or fangs or bone or whatever for some amount of money. So it's almost like mercenary work as well.
Yeah, so like the hide is extra protective against, their the kaiju buffalo in this area. The hide of that makes very good jackets against penetration or what have you. The teeth of the those mountain lions, for instance, make good knives, because they're so big. They make good knives that can penetrate these hides. Or bullets they can put them in, or like dude, shotgun rounds.
Yeah.
And it's just like the teeth that have been shaved down into pellets.
For sure, because I'm sure there's some like Cronenbergian extra mouths or something on some creature, and it's like, you got all kind of stuff. You got amphibians. You got like you could even go into like
crocodile, alligator.
Yeah, you could even go into like alligator territory and
man,
swamps and all kind of stuff.
What is even better? We'll call it our what was it on the website, the flufulum or flubulum or whatever. It's the material of the object, the unobtainium. Doesn't matter what it is, and the properties of it don't matter. It's a thing.
Sure.
So is ours aquatic material, or is it? Because this hinges so we can place for our world. We can place where there's larger concentrations of these creatures.
Larger concentrations of these creatures are, I think, once they get infected, they maybe seek out more of it, whatever this material is. That way, it gives you the opportunity to, one, have large groups of them near mines. It also makes large groups of them more attracted to, like a kaiju, coming and stomping through a city. So if you've got some backwater town that somebody's just killed one and they've taken a lot of this material and they've come back and they're trading through, well, guess what? Every other one of these kaijus from around can smell it in the town.
Yeah.
So they come wandering in. So you've got it lets you play with a couple different things. If they want more of that material, they're going to concentrate at places where its concentration is. So you've got mines and cities and caravans, and so like whatever this material is, it's almost like I think it probably has multiple functions. I think it probably immediately replaces coal. I think it burns like so efficiently that it's like, okay, well, they start using it as fuel. They start using it for fires. They start using it.
So we've got specialized cowboys that work as protection.
Sure.
We should come up with another word that's not cowboy.
I think it's like trains are immediately running off this stuff instead of coal. So all these things also chase down trains. So you've got a whole thing of cowboys who are like specifically.
I like the idea.
That gives you the ability to have train robbers, which are bad cowboys that want to rob stash. You've got kaijus attacking trains. You've got.
Dude, I really like the idea too, though, of all of these bio-augmented kaiju are not all necessarily like predaceous. So we've got like I think they have there is a specialized herd of these kaiju horses that they use. They controlled dosage to augment them so that they're faster, stronger.
I like that. I also like color me a sucker for like familiars.
Yes, dude.
But I also like the idea of like a jackalope. Just like whatever our main character is, I think there's a jackalope that either follows his group around or like he doesn't like, but is like clearly his pet.
Yeah. I think they're not all. I don't think all of them. I think the predators are dangerous, and I think the herds are like herds of cattle that are kaiju are potentially dangerous because they congregate in large masses. They do damage to property. So sometimes it's not always hunt and kill that monster. It's repel.
But they're super useful. How nice is it to have a cow that's 20 feet tall? Well, you only need to milk it once. Although I feel like that's dangerous.
But it sets up the world
or
of like
maybe
new. It sets the world up for new new kaiju, new animals that get into these supplies somehow.
Sure.
But it also sets up for a bred populace.
Yeah.
Because they've already been augmented, and generationally, it becomes just part of what they are. It becomes its own
species almost.
Yeah, and maybe that's what
New
these horses
species
are.
of these things.
So this organization that hires out the professional hunters for the horses, for instance, has this particular, maybe it's a hexapedal horse, or it's something, some sort of cool thing for these horses that makes them, other than being stronger and bigger.
I think maybe even this stuff like allows cross-pollination between species.
Oh,
like you could get these sort of crazy amalgamations,
and that's when we get our
creatures.
Cronenberg monsters that are.
I think if two creatures that are normal to begin with get into the same source at the same time, it can like meld their DNA together.
Ooh, okay. So like it makes.
So at some point you have like a horse and something else get into this mixture, and maybe in fighting them very early on in this
they can stop it from continuing.
Very early on in this timeline, they're like just like a normal evolution. Occasionally you get useful benefits for mutations. It's like this one's like, oh, all these things are terrible, and then you end up with this horse/coyote that has crazy stamina, and instead of needing to feed it at night, you just don't leave it tied up, and it's got that like dog-like loyalty, but it'll go hunt for itself.
Yeah.
And so it'll go eat some carrion somewhere, it'll go eat some nasty something and come back by the morning, and you're like, all right, whatever. It fed itself. So it's got like.
So is this? Oh, all right. Fucking cook with me. So we've got this concept that we hybridized bio-augmented kaiju that are used for specific purposes at whatever this organization is that trains these kaiju slayers or whatever, controllers, hunters.
I think
we need a word.
I think organization. I don't
want to use guild.
Cowboys don't have organizations.
Guild's the right word, but I don't want to use guild because that's
Cowboys don't have organizations unless
it's government.
It's government.
Yeah.
They don't have like, you're not going to end up with like the Harry Potter school of monster hunting in this sort of universe.
No, I mean like it's a job.
What you would end up with is we'd have to come up with something like federal marshals.
Yes.
It's not like, there are still sheriffs of a town because they do a sheriff job. And a sheriff may have at one point in his time killed a little kaiju.
Yeah, there's one that like in a town. They're stationed.
Yes, like something shows up, and obviously they would call them like, they would end up with different names for these, but also some of them they would just give a name. If you have some like crazy mutated coyote that's lost all its hair and has big old razor sharp teeth, they're going to be chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
They're going to give it these names that are. Instead of calling it, there's a bio coyote, it's like you're going to end up with these names that already exist for other folklore and stuff that they're just reusing for these.
You got like this groundhog deer, essentially. That's your Wendigo.
Yeah, like
this bipedal fucking rat thing with horns.
Gross.
Ugh.
Gross. I was thinking more like malnourished, 20-foot tall bipedal elk for a Wendigo.
That'd be sick. It's kind of the same vein,
yes. But they would name them these things so that the name itself would be recognizable, and then the creature would be like, oh, that's what you would call that. But yeah, that makes sense.
Crocodile and vulture. You get the Thunderbird. this huge reptilian,
winged
reptilian thing.
I think Thunderbird is a big one.
Thunderbird
is a big one because it's like.
That's you hear it coming, everybody gets that.
It is like, I don't know, almost like a vulture. Maybe a vulture got into so whatever creature that it's based off of, whatever like mammalian sort of creature, ate the stuff and died. And then the vulture ate the creature, and it was like directly in a source. The source in the first creature was so concentrated, it just killed it.
Yeah.
It didn't even have time to, it just killed it. It digested enough that this like giant concentration is enough for a vulture who can eat anything and survive, has become this gigantic creature that soars throughout the American West and is virtually unkillable, it's a Thunderbird.
If this were ever real, I got dibs on horse raven hybrid. Get this like black, like a thestral Pegasus
Interesting.
type thing.
Interesting.
Oh. Sorry, I'm spinning out now. I'm crashing out on different.
I'm crashing out.
Okay, so we've got our world. We got a modern day world, roughly modern day. You know, it doesn't have to be 2025, but sorry.
Yeah, I think I don't know that it's modern. I think that it's probably a little bit further. I think that the American West was like this little short snippet in time.
Yes.
I think it's much longer than that. I think we got to the point in time where we were like, all right, let's go west. And think of all the stuff in the West got us.
Right.
Materials, expansion, all that stuff. Well, how it normally happened in real, you know, it's not like there weren't hardships. Not like there wasn't an Oregon Trail.
There's a whole game about it.
But here you get all of that stuff, but you also get these horrible things that are moving around, and they do have to lock it in. Like the American West is like, you don't go there, but there are people that still go there because they want to make a life. They want to get out of there.
Bad.
Yeah.
It's the Donner Party.
The Donner Party.
The Donner Party. It was a family, the Donners,
Yeah.
that traveled west. They got trapped in the snow. An entire family. There's a bunch of people. They got trapped in the snow, and they had to eat each other to survive, which is kind of the story of the Wendigo, how the Wendigo comes about. But if they're in there, maybe they found the stuff. They got trapped inside of a cave where all this material
They found the
was.
stuff. They tried to eat it to survive. They couldn't live.
They
off
ate each
of it.
other.
They ate each other, and they became Wendigos.
Yeah, so there's
Is
like
that
these
Is that a
three-
big bad, or is that an episode? Is this because if it's episodic,
Maybe
if
that's
it's episodic.
Monster of the fucking week.
Monster of the week. You get them wandering out. They
Yeah.
find a random cabin. The whole back.
Yeah, my brain
wall's
was on
ripped
movie.
off, and it's like,
Yes.
you know, you get them hunting this family of Wendigos.
Maybe this is-
discovering the
this is our
truth
pilot.
as to what happened.
This is our pilot.
Is it the pilot? Because I think if it's a cabin in the middle of nowhere, it's you're immediately thrown into winter, because Wendigos are very like winter reliant. They're a creature of snow and famine and
Well, they just hunt things down at night. I mean, not necessarily like the stories of we have very similar stories up north in Alaska. The scary stories of like the Kushtaka kind of lead themselves along those lines. There's also the Yupik pygmy people, kind of similar in that way. They kind of get travelers that are lost in the woods, lure them away, kill them, lure them in with fake voices. The actual story of the Kushtaka is not a scary story, but it's become in some ways.
I like it, but I think that I think the pilot where he's hunting people or things that used to be people
Yeah,
is probably not where you want to start.
that's true. Because that
want it
sets
to
a
be
precedent of us hunting people.
But because that's an episode that is a twist. That's an episode where they're hunting these creatures. Oh, these creatures came in and they killed this family. Oh, and then you get to the end and the creatures didn't kill the family. The creatures were the family. And that's that like twist
that
at
twist.
the end that they've been fighting these things. And I think that's a great like
Overarching.
that's a great episode somewhere at the end of season 1 or beginning of season 2 or something that's like to twist the show on its head.
Yeah. People can be affected.
Yeah, this
by
can affect people.
which
It
sets a
normally
dangerous precedent for
doesn't.
the rest of the whole
Sure.
world too, which is kind of interesting.
Sure.
Excuse me.
I think the pilot needs to be a snapshot of what the show is about.
Yes. No, you're
We
right.
got to have cowboy or group of cowboys. I think
we've got a team.
What do you call them?
I think we go the penis. We go the Witcher route.
The Witcher route. What do you mean?
The Witcher route. We got our main guy. He's the hunter. He's the guy that slays all the fucking monsters. He's the badass. Then we've got he or she, it doesn't matter. Then we've got our bard. We've got our witch character. We've got, I think, whatever this ensemble of characters needs to be. I think we have the one or maybe two that is maybe the hunter and the apprentice as our main fighting force, and then we've got our support system. So we've got our Alma, who's like, here's the quest. This is what's going on right now.
I think I think it depends on what you want to do with the story. I don't think many Westerns have like classes.
No, not to put it in
se.
class. I think character archetypes.
But I think the character archetypes are. It depends on what kind of Western you want it to be. If it's an episodic sort of thing, I think Master and Apprentice works very well because all old shows like that would be the guy that does the thing and his companion.
Yeah.
And you got Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and like even Batman and Robin from like old TV shows. You've got the guy and the partner, and I think that works really well. That's an interesting dynamic.
I think that creates our apprentice to be our surrogate character for this world.
Yeah, I think some kid who's found his way into the West, or some young man who's found his way into the West and gets caught in a problem to begin with. I like that idea because it's hard not to look like a jackass when you're writing a story and you want your main character to be so powerful.
Yeah.
If you write it from their perspective, it comes across like you're a jackass.
You're a jackass and it's boring.
If you write it from some other character's perspective, it's a lot easier to show how cool a character is if you're not in their head for meeting them. So
yeah,
I like the idea that whoever this surrogate character is ends up in whatever town this happens to be, and something happens, the good guy comes in and saves him, and he's like,
finds this pro.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
I want to help people. I want to save people like you're doing. Show me how to do it. And that guy's like, no. And our first episode is him following him anyway. Classic,
Yes.
get in trouble.
And somehow, classic getting in trouble, screwing up, but something that this kid does saves the guy or saves the day in some domino way that the main character's like, all right, fine.
And it could be, I mean, I like the idea of this character that is our surrogate character. So we have our hunting character. We got the guy that kills everything or whatever, repels monsters, does his thing. He's the badass. He's the good guy. I like the idea of the surrogate character having, maybe his specialization isn't weapons. It's not hunting things, but he does know animals. He knows habits. He knows.
I am inclined to believe that is a good idea. I would offer a secondary.
I like that verse. I like that way of saying I fucking hate it instead.
No,
I'm inclined to believe that that's a good idea.
That's fucking stupid, and that you should feel bad. No, I like it.
Modern day society tells me I should agree with you, but I
I have two divergent opinions on it. Either it's that kid, or one of the other characters who's very important, who would be so important enough to be established in the first episode, is the biologist. I think if you're running this old school kind of Western, which I think we're leaning more into, you've got the guy, you've got the apprentice, you need the love interest, and you need the professor.
Yeah.
The professor, and maybe the kid is good at biology, and maybe that's why he came out here. He went to college, they've sent him on his work study sort of thing, and they're like, go out with Professor What's-His-Face.
You're going to work at the herd of Super
You're
Bowls.
going to be his right-hand man. This is going to be the best work experience you've ever gone. And he's like, oh, golly gee, oh boy, I'm so excited. And they're like, it's in Arizona.
You're going across the border.
You're going into the, whatever we call the zone.
Yeah.
You're going west. And it's like, you get the face. And this guy ends up having to go west, and it goes from there.
Yes, we follow him. So we get to see our modern world.
That can show you. He goes, I think the show starts with something, and we'll figure that out in a minute. I think it starts with something in the West and our cool badass guy.
Oh, for sure. We got to have that cold open.
And then you get the title screen, and then you start with the kid's story. And the kid's story is you see him I don't know, maybe graduate or finish a class or whatever in a very like Western style, early America's colonial sort of thing, where he's in school and they're like, "Oh, great, you're he's just finished his veterinary stuff or whatever and learning animal biology," and they're like, "Well, if you really want to be he really wants to be on the cutting edge of whatever this advancement is." He's like, "Okay, I know about animals, I know about all this veterinary stuff, but I really want to know about
Kaiju.
those things.
I want to know how these things
I want
work.
to know how those things work." And they're like, "Well,
And maybe he's like, man, if we could get some specimens brought to the college.
right.
And maybe that's a hard rule. That's a hard rule, is that those specimens are not allowed to leave the zone.
I think so.
Like the materials can't leave the zone.
I think
that's all got to stay in there.
I think it's happened too many times, and like
It's
they
too much of
tried
an
to take
unknown.
that material out and like use it out in the world for things, and it's like, oh, it draws the kaiju.
Someone's dog got a hold of it.
To hell with
or-
that. Cage it in. That's the West. You don't go West
Yeah.
unless you're looking for trouble. However, there's a lot of money to be made out West. And if you can find that stuff and build it into your train technology, all of a sudden some slow train goes up to the border. It changes stuff over into what's basically a bullet train that runs off this stuff. And maybe not a bullet train, so you can still do like
you get
train.
some like Western Shinkansen situations.
But yeah,
going
it's just
on.
like it's so weird that the technology in here is so advanced, but also the people that are taking advantage of it are not the people who would build the most advanced things. So you've got like back shop engineers instead of like the big city engineers engineering with this material that may not even be like.
Oh, yep, got to replace the hyper engine.
Yeah, you got Buster out there and it was spitting into his spittoon while working on his antimatter engine, while people.
You take it for a spin. You get hungry. There's a pimento taco in the glove compartment.
Yeah. You got this Borderlands-esque people
Yes.
group working on these things, while like actual engineers in New York are like, well, we'll just make steam better, you know.
This was fine. We don't want to die. We don't want monsters running the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think steam's good. I think this is fine.
Yeah, like it's a choice to live out there, and not everyone can hunt these things. So you've got these specialized people that come out for the money, and they do it. And then maybe some of them have places in the city and stuff like that. We could divulge.
Anyway, he's like, I want to do this. I want to go learn about the kaiju. And they're like, well, good news. We just got a telegram the other day of Professor what's his name, who's looking for a new research assistant. And he would love to have anybody.
He's a leading expert.
Yeah,
in
he's the leading expert in kaijutology and
kaijology,
and would love to have a thing. And he's like, it is very, very, I don't know what's the word I'm trying to look for, like competitive.
Ooh,
But he's like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
why
yeah,
hasn't
yeah.
anybody gotten it yet? It's because nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to go out.
I know it didn't say.
Didn't read the fine print. Yeah, well, I'll put you down as a yes and send it off. And then, he goes home, has his like normal life, all the normal things that a colonial person at that point would be doing. I guess it's probably a little late for colonial, but you get the idea.
Dude, we get to see him go through this gate that's just like one opens, there's three more closed passes. And he gets to, and there's a fucking the kaiju horse and carriage waiting for him.
Oh, kaiju horse and carriage waiting for him, but like the walls themselves it's got to be Western.
Oh,
so they're
yeah.
like electrically charged barbed wire. They're charged with whatever
sick.
this energy is. It's like black and purple energy from whatever this goo is. And it's like these big like razor wire, like think old Western fence, but like Jurassic Park style fence that it just like goes above where the eye can see. I feel like this is a good time to be like, I could see this animated and I can also see this live action. It would be such a big budget live action.
God, dude, the live action budget would be wild. Because you'd have to get out into. You'd have to have enough space that you could shoot big, huge wides of nothing, or like Utah, where it's the
Well, like
you know what I mean?
a lot big, huge wides are like landscape crazy, but also
Yeah.
like there's like
Making the
you
monsters.
gotta have a blue screen lot.
Yeah, we're shooting this at OFS.
You gotta have a blue screen lot. Like you need the cargo containers stacked 3 stories tall, painted blue.
I think I like the idea of animation because you could do anything. I love it. I wish animation wasn't so expensive, and I understand why it is. You got to pay your people. You got to get the stuff. God, it's so good because you could do anything. It's limitless.
Sure.
You know, we're physical media people, but
sure.
man.
But I like blank.
If it
blank
was done,
check, open budget. This is
I think
crazy.
I think if we had the Witcher budget,
yeah.
Witcher budget, live action, this
Just episode. You know, for our first episode, we just need like a whole season of Game of Thrones budget for the pilot. It's fine.
But the neat thing is you'll be able to see our episodes.
Desert Sun. Now, I will say, although the pilot would probably be a lot of money, there are a lot of episodes that would just be out in the middle of nowhere in the woods.
Yeah, in a cave.
In a cave. There are plenty of these that would be like every once in a while in the season you would get these like huge kaiju moments. But other things might be kaijus only because they're animals that should be this big and they're 6 feet tall. You know,
Yeah, you've got the field mouse.
Not
That's the size
every one
of a
of
bowl.
them. Not every one of them has to be like a buffalo that's massive.
The bull mouse.
The bull mouse.
So you get like have like a shrew that is like mixed with a buffalo.
Like a vole that's the size of a bison.
Yes, with like horns and hooves. Like this thing's huge, and it's just destroying towns.
Yes,
it's not inherently bad. It's just it's a problem for everybody and everything. We got to take it out. The guild authorizes you to hunt.
Then they stampede.
Stop at a stampede when that'd be sick.
I'm telling you, it's an old school Western show. Every episode's different. You got the people out in the cabin. That's a twist. You've got the stop on the stampede episode.
Yes.
You've got all these wonderful things. We're kind of like making note of what episodes we can do. So great. What was it? Stampede and cabin
in the woods episode.
In woods. That's great.
Okay, so we've got a pretty strong idea of what our world is. We've got a world going. We've got episodic. We figured out our unobtainium is this coal substance.
Yeah, so let's figure that out. It is some kind of substance that
I think it's something that doesn't have to be in a cave. I think you shouldn't only have to mine it. I think it's this vein. That sometimes surfaces. So that it would explain why it's far-reaching and why these things get it. And maybe that's our big story. The overarching entire story's thing is, where does this come from? What is the source?
What is the source, and why is it there? Why in the West? Where is this? You know,
why is the source? How is this?
What do we call it?
What's it look like? So we eat these things. Do the creatures exude anything?
In my head, it's like
I like when you said like the purplish thing with.
In my head, it's like fracking.
Yes.
It's like fracking. It's like normally this thing is probably like some sort of translucent purple or something. Mm-hmm. But like when you're truly getting down to it and like dynamiting mines, and it like liquefies for some reason, and it can get into water supply or get in through your pores or get in through like it becomes a sludge.
Yeah.
Like a black and purple sludge. And whatever it is, it burns. What if it is this material that when it's just below ground, so it's like like lead has an incredibly low melting point. Sure.
So what if it's similar to that? It's when it's below ground, it's solid. It's not exposed to oxygen. Once it surfaces, it starts to melt. And then it becomes this sludge. It becomes this consumable thing or this usable substrate. But once it surfaces, whatever that particular vein is surfaces, it tends to go below, and then it poisons the ground when it has an effect on an area.
I think so. I think the liquid version of this is bad.
Yes.
And I think if you can extract it, I'm not sure about bringing it up liquefies it, because if we want it to be like coal and you want to like shovel it in an engine, or I mean maybe it is liquid and maybe it's like gas and you can pour it in, but like you got to have a special container. You can't have people near it. I like the idea of it being like there's some way, and maybe it's just refining. Maybe they figured out by our point in the story, they figured out a way to refine it,
to take it from that sludge to
take
something
it from the
usable.
sludge into some different form. So like this pure material is see-through purple. It becomes sludge. You can refine it into like a black.
It's gas. It's crude oil.
Sure, I mean
Look at
that's the point.
it's making kaiju. What if it was kaiju? What if in the before times
It was some sort of.
it was kaiju? It was dinosaurs. It was kaiju.
I can dig it.
And then, now it's this material that's utilized for fuel.
Yeah, I think nobody knows that at this point.
Yeah, but I think maybe
one of
that's
one of the seeds is like, what if this is what was left over from something or some things beforehand?
And maybe that's what our character figures
And
out.
it was like coal, it was under pressure.
Yeah.
And, like living, like trees or whatever become coal after they.
Well, that would explain what we have. You have pockets.
You have pockets of it. So it's like old forests. These things crush and become this material. And then when they leak out, the purified form of them is incredible. But once they leak out and they've been fracked, it kind of changes the DNA of whatever it's come into contact with until we learn to refine it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all this becomes like its own analog of the coal industry and the oil industry.
Oh, yeah.
And how it just changes the environment in good and bad ways.
Sure.
There's plenty of bad stuff about oil, but there was also plenty of good stuff about oil. It helped us as a species
Gave us
come
plastic.
to a different point.
And now, cyclical nature of life, we've all got microplastics in us.
I mean, incredible.
What
We're
is-
all part dinosaur.
What is, was, and will be again.
We're all part dinosaur. Let it be known here. You heard it first. Yeah, I know people tell you all the time you're part stardust, but you're also part dinosaur.
You're a beautiful plastic star. Dinosaur.
But beautiful plastic star is my alter ego for OnlyFans.
That's my drag queen persona.
Yes. So we have this material.
Mm-hmm.
What do we call it? We've got coal. We've got oil. What's another like?
Kaijunium.
Why is it? You can't just. I like kaijology though.
Kaijology. What's it made out of, man?
I don't know. We could call it something like a dumb hick would call it, and be like, it's black crystal, or whatever. But you could also call it something. You
It's good if you heat it up and inject it in your veins.
Yeah. That's how you get the worst kinds of kaijus. It's direct injection.
Ooh, we could have that happen. So
That's a bad guy later.
Yeah.
That's a bad guy later. That's like Western mad scientist stuff. I think it would be interesting to have just like an easy word. Coal, oil. This thing
some
this
single
thing is
syllable.
like, I'm sure it's got names like black magic or whatever, oil kind of stuff. I'm sure it's got names like that. But it has some like this stuff.
Sludge.
Sludge.
We'll think on that.
You could
Let's move
call
on.
it
We'll think about
oil.
it.
You could call it sludge. You could call it slick. You could call it
Slick would be a good
slick's not
street
bad.
name if it was a drug.
Well, slick's not bad because it's like think of cowboys.
True.
Get some of that slick. It's just like throw some more slick in the fire.
Slick harvesters.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at it. I don't like it.
That's slick. And things that are cool.
I'm inclined to tell you that I like that.
Anyway, slick. You got slag.
Slag is cool. While I'm aware of what slag is, I have heard slag in other media. I couldn't tell you what. I want to say Borderlands. I've heard slag, and maybe it's a type of creature that's in Borderlands.
No, yeah, you're right.
To avoid copyright?
It is like it's like an element.
That's what it is.
like
That's
an
what it
element.
is. Slag, yeah. I think it's a dark purplish element too, isn't
Might
it?
be, yeah.
Okay. but something like that. Something that's got a good hard wording, single syllable. Damn, Slag was good. We'll think about it.
So what else we need is
comment what you think it would be if you're interested. Help us out.
Yeah. What else do we have? So we've
got our world.
We need our marshals.
So we need our not police force, but our protective force.
It's a federal task force.
Yeah.
So it's like if these things. So you could even have stories. We're in the pilot. We're already talking about spinoffs. You could also have a group that's within these marshals that handles escaped kaijus. So ones that have gotten out of bounds, they go to Savannah or New York or whatever,
they go that have broken the fence.
Find ones that are broken containment.
Well, especially if you've got your winged ones, like the Thunderbird is a real problem.
Yeah, the Thunderbird.
Dude, I like the idea
lucky that the Thunderbird.
What if
lives.
the Thunderbird does? What if that Thunderbird has gone over the wall times and they're like, they got alarms?
I think maybe it has, and they've got alarms. And I think the good news about the Thunderbird, the best news for the whole world about the Thunderbird, is the Thunderbird needs to eat so much. The only place it can get meals that are big enough to feed a Thunderbird are where the kaijus are.
Yeah,
so it stays in the American West.
But I like the world.
I think you see it somewhere in the first episode.
Oh, sure. You see it off in the distance.
You just see like the bird.
Yeah.
You see the bird, and it's just like, oh, there it goes.
You see him flying, and you see him fly by one of the sirens. Or go off when a kaiju comes over the fence.
Or you see just the tiny bird. I think this is what it is. You see the tiny bird go by in the background because you can't tell how far away it is.
Yeah.
But just quickly, nobody notices the shadow that goes over the characters. Like the people that are there, you get like your two characters standing there full shadow for like 20 seconds or like 10 seconds. And then it goes by. Nobody says a word about it. Nobody says anything, but you see like creepy looking bird in the background. And then the shadow's like, goo, as it goes over them. And it's like, that's not a bird.
Dude, and it's like caw is like a thunderclap.
Yes.
That's why it's the thunder.
It's just like a crash. It's just an explosion.
Yeah,
almost.
Anyway,
so yeah, we need our marshals, and maybe they're just called the marshals, but we change. Maybe the U.S. Marshals. Maybe in our story they are U.S. Marshals, but the U.S. Marshals were made to keep track, and instead of
like
marshaling. Instead of marshaling
game.
criminals, it could be wildlife fishing game. Instead of criminals, it's kaiju.
They keep track of populations. They keep track of movements, and they're the ones that call the hunters and go, "Hey, we got this big one that's getting out of bounds, or it's eating a little too much, decimating populations of this, whatever." Because they don't want to wipe out these animals because they're useful. They need them. They use them for food and materials and. For whatever reason, agricultural reasons. So what if? Yeah, maybe they're the fish and game service of our world.
So yeah, U.S. Marshals. U.S. Marshals are like literally was just designed to hunt down criminals that people can't find.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it's mixtures. Maybe they do both.
Well, maybe they can
part
do
of
it
their
to
training.
So what if we grade each of the kaiju species? Known species has a grade.
I think that's what that's what the biologist does.
He gives them tiers.
I think the biologist is working for whatever college that the main character goes to, but I think or the surrogate character goes to, but I think he's also working in tandem with the marshals to create this, we'll come up with this
book, the encyclopedia.
Yeah, encyclopedia, but like what I'm trying to think of a grading system, like there's a
it's like size and danger level.
Yeah, like
a threat level scale.
Family, genus, species, like all that kind of stuff. It's like they're making the book on how this stuff works.
Yeah. They're like, hey, as far as hunting goes, this is a 5. As far as like workability and use of materials, this one's like an 8.
Yeah.
whatever. It's like different.
I think there's enough. There's enough. Like we've been building really heavily into Western lore, but like I think the kaiju lore is also there. Like typically when you watch anything with kaijus in it, they've got some kind of like warning system, and they've got some kind of like leveling system. Like this is a tier 1, this is a tier 2. Like that's very consistent in kaiju media, that there would be like classifications of these creatures.
Yeah, and I think you've got your 0, which is your they're nothing. They're
pets.
They're pets.
They're nothing.
Your 0s. Your 1s is like what the horses are.
Yeah, your 1s is like they could cause a problem.
You've got the biggest one that we know of and have dealt with. The Thunderbird is like an 8. Like that's what we consider the top.
Yeah,
right now.
I think right now it like goes to 5. Like
yeah,
one is a domesticated. 1 is nothing or 0. I don't know.
I think 0
is like pets.
No threat.
1 is like they are threatening, but they're tameable.
They're domesticated.
2 is
it's like a dog.
2 is non-tameable and dangerous, but like it's not going to come hunt you down.
Yeah.
Whatever. 3.
2 is like the buffalo.
3 is dangerous. 3 is the alligator. 3 is like this thing could mess you up, and it will come get this stuff. Like
territorial.
If you leave a whole, if you got a wagon train with a bunch of this stuff in it, you're asking for trouble.
Giant fucking alligator chasing down a train.
Yes.
God.
4 is like they're a huge problem, and 5 is like mythical.
But yeah,
5 is like the Thunderbird probably exists. There's enough people that have said they've seen it, but it's not in the encyclopedia yet. Like there's enough people that say it exists, and
no one's gotten close enough to catalog.
And darn tootin', I've seen one once. I swear on my mother.
I'll say eat one of them alligators.
I seen it swoop down and pick up 2 of them.
And turn off one episode, we see it just.
I got a cousin who says it took his baby.
Dude, what about like turtles, tortoises, fish, catfish?
This is all wonderful. This is all wonderful. We've got our U.S. Marshals.
Yes.
We'd have like, I don't know, we got to add something to it instead of like U.S. Marshal. It's got to be something that has to do with kite. There's got to be an extra word in there somewhere. Or maybe there's a division of the U.S. Marshals. I think that's
Kaiju
better.
division.
I think the Kaiju division of the U.S. Marshals.
Yeah, and they're qualified to hunt up to a 3. 4, they call somebody.
I think that anyone who's in the Marshals can hunt up to a 3. A 4 requires a posse.
Yes.
4 requires a posse.
4 requires a posse.
And 5s are, it's got to be like do not detain or something. It's like 5s is like do not mess with it.
Just take cover and run.
Yes. 5 is
take emergency measures.
Emergency measures.
Yes.
Evacuation. That we'll have like the 3 E's or whatever, and it'll be like emergency, evacuate, and whatever. And
Let's become one of these one of the marshals of the Kaiju division. You have to go through an apprenticeship training.
Yes.
Which is what?
It is no longer, so to be a marshal, you used to have to go to marshal training and learn all of this stuff.
We are live.
Technical difficulties. The last few minutes will be audio only, and I'll find something to stick in there. That's what pilots are for. Bear with us on our first attempt.
Like we said, we couldn't afford the midlife crisis, so
yeah,
we get what we get.
So where were we?
We were talking about the 3 E's. We were in the middle of the classifications for the kaiju. So like 1 through 5, and if it's a 5, then you got to get down the rules for that. What was it? It was evacuate.
Yeah, I don't remember what the 3 were.
Yeah. You were on something.
Back through it, we were on something. Then I noticed that we weren't recording video anymore.
We spent the last 15 minutes troubleshooting.
That was a fun troubleshoot. I think they certainly have classifications. 0 or what did we say? 0 or 1?
0 is pets.
0 is a pet.
Yeah.
1 is like the horses that domesticated. 3 is not. You can't domesticate it, and it's a dangerous animal. Mm-hmm. 4 is these are the kaijus that you think of. These are actively attempting to hurt you, actively attempting to get things or to get more of this material or whatever.
Yes, and a kaiju marshal is able alone to hunt a 0 through a 3.
Yes.
Whereas if you need to hunt a 4, you got to get your posse.
4 needs a posse, and 5 is like do not interact with.
Yeah.
If they are attacking a settlement, your job as the marshal is to evacuate that
Get them out of
settlement.
that settlement.
It is get out. That is like the Thunderbird and like the larger, like multiple stories tall creatures. Yeah. This is like truly legendary. Like this would be like Babe the Blue Ox. This is like legendary caliber kaiju of this place and time. So we have the Marshal Kaiju division of the Marshal Service. They're gonna have some, like we'll design it later. They're gonna have some shield. Their shield is gonna be special.
Some shield. They got to have their special like their 1911
their government issue. 1911. What year?
I want a big ass gun.
That's not a revolver, cowboy. 1911 is a.
I think the originals were
handgun. No,
I thought the original 1911 was a
it's like
revolver.
No, not that I know of.
Oh. I'm not a gunologist.
Gunology.
It's a gynecologist.
That's what I'm gonna call every like place that you see on the side of the street that's like, we sell guns here. Sorry guys, I gotta go to the gynecologist. I'm late for an appointment.
Our producer is showing us that it was in fact not.
It is in fact not a revolver. I'm excited for. See, this is how you secretly get people to comment, because some fucking weenie here in the comments is like, actually, it was designed by Mr. Colt himself. I'm excited for you. You drive engagement. Go for it. Hit us with all the stuff that we've done.
Give us the lore.
No, but like they've got their government issue revolver.
Yes.
But the weird part about government issue is that the bullets or whatever have to be made from this special material, because it's the only thing that can hurt these creatures. So your guns, your steel has to be infused with it. If you have a bladed weapon, like all of these things are imbued with this whatever material, magic, whatever you want to call it.
Right. So they have to have their own source of this material that they can utilize for weaponry. So maybe this is someone's job. Someone's job is weapons.
Oh, for sure.
And they make the stuff and they hand them out.
Great.
What's the word? It's the requisitions.
Requisitions, but also like gunsmithy, gynecologist. the gynecologist.
We gotta go see a gynecologist.
We gotta go see a gynecologist about a thing I got. Got a little problem.
Something stuck up in there.
Got a little hitch in my lever, if you know what I mean. Gotta go see a gynecologist. Oh, I'm all jammed up. Misfire.
Oh, it's all blanks.
Oh man. I've been shooting blank loads all day.
You're not supposed to dry fire that thing.
I've been fanning the hammer a little too hard. You know what's great about this? It's a perfect spot to put the love interest. What if the love interest is a blacksmith in whatever town they're in to begin with?
Yeah.
And so she is like, there's always
whenever our kaiju marshal comes to town,
needs something fixed.
She's very excited about it.
She's there because she's been working with this material for as long as she's been around, and she was already a gunsmith and armor smith, and I forget what the name. So that specific name for
this is implicating a base. This is implicating a home base.
Sure. Well, I think episode 1. Yeah, I think episode 1 is like, you discover whatever city this is, and he saves the day, and you get all of these. You get the biologist who interacts with this guy, and you get the kid who's like, okay, biology was fun, but like the dorky professor's not giving me actual field research. It's the marshal that brings stuff back to him or whatever. And so he's like, so I want to go with that guy and learn. And then you get the love interest fixing the stuff in the same town. You get the biologist and the love interest that get to have like a friendly relationship. This is the hub. They are saving this place, and it becomes the hub of their adventures.
So what if for our pilot episode, we've got to establish quite a few things. But I like the idea that we have our surrogate character, our main character goes to study under this professor out in the field. Our kaiju of the week, or our kaiju, our monster this episode comes in, and that's how our character arrives. This monster comes and takes and kills a bunch of people, right? Comes in, this professor that he's studying under dies. So now he's out there. He's got some experience under his belt, and he's got to do something, right? So maybe that's why he tails along with this guy. Not only does the professor that he really didn't want to study under anyway die, it gives him a reason to not return.
What do you mean not return?
It's a forced call to action, right? So he goes out, he ends up in the area. He doesn't come back to this professor to learn from him. He's out in the field. He's got his thing, right? His whole thing is, I wanted to study kaiju. He goes out to study kaiju, and he gets the hard lesson that it's the Wild West.
I think having an experienced biology that an experienced biologist who's there in a lab trying to understand them, I think that's really key to moving the plot along through seasons. Because if it's just Mr. Scratchy
like it's a researcher
who kills kaijus and his little buddy that follows him, you never get any farther than
that.
Your story becomes entirely based upon the personal relationships of this guy, which is fine. You can tell a story like that. You can have people from his past come in. You can have all these kind of different things, but you're very people focused. If you have that researcher in the back who's an old man who can't do field research, maybe that's why he wants.
Well, because that keeps us from the Rick and Morty scenario where you got the two people that go out on the adventure every single time. It's the same people.
Yes.
Whereas if Morty had to come back and catalog the aliens.
Correct. And I think what it is that the biologist, that the main guy, not the surrogate character, but our true biologist is so old he can't do field work anymore. I think, or maybe he's not old. Maybe he's crippled in some way.
He's damaged, yeah.
And that's the reason that he, not only has he called his person back at college and said, send him a telegram that says, I need a new research assistant, find me somebody. There's actual subtext to it. I think it says, I need a research assistant, find me somebody. They have to be young, they have to be physically fit, they have to be all these things. And the main character doesn't know that. He's just like, I'm going to go study some kaijus. And he's thinking he's going to get dead samples brought in, and he's going to look at them.
Some special
lab. And it's going to be all hunky-dory. And he gets there, and the main biologist is like, no, that's my job. That's my job. Your job is to go requisition and find things. Here's some money. Go buy them from the stock. Here's whatever. I just need pieces. And our main character ends up saving the kid. And it's like, oh, I could buy the same little piece of, I'm going to call it something because I'm tired of calling it random material. I'm going to find until we find a better name for it that's slick or slag or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to find some of this slag, and I'm going to bring it back, and it's going to be the same shit that was at the shop yesterday, or the same thing that I stole off somebody the other day. Or I can follow this guy around, and I can get fresh from the monster pieces that nobody's organs that people have never seen before. I can find all of this stuff. Like this guy's whole shtick,
excrement, all sorts of shit.
Is like
they eat.
Is like I am going to learn everything I can about these things. And in doing so, you get, one, the badass dude who can kill them.
Yeah.
You get the kid who.
And we maintain our educated biologist.
You get that feeling that one day this kid is going to be a force to reckon with, because not only is he training from the guy that, and maybe he even helps out with the gunsmith. So it's like, at some point, this kid who at the beginning of this is just like a dorky researcher kid goes to the West, and he's now training under the best kaiju killer, the most knowledgeable kaiju researcher, and the best gunsmith of this material ever. And like one day this kid's going to be a force to reckon with. You can't keep calling him a gynecologist. It's going to stick. Don't do it.
Well, I like the idea. So we take this. Yes, I agree. I think that's all perfect. I like the idea of the gunsmith. It's no fun. I like the idea of the gunsmith being
Well, if you'll come up with a better name for the material, we'll call him a that smith.
Oh, slag.
Because slagsmith is
sick, dude. You know what? Let's just stick with slag until we get sued by Gearbox.
Give Randy Pitchford like 20 minutes. He'll get canceled again, and then we'll be fine.
Okay, so we've got our slagsmith. We've got our biologist, our kaiju zoologist.
Okay, question. Ponderance.
We're really digging into what these things are called.
What I mean, but that's part of the world
Yeah.
building. Part of the world building. I forget what I was saying.
But yeah, sorry. Where I was going with that is wrapping up our pilot. So we've got our world. We've got our Western world inside of we've got an isolated world inside of a world that is modern, quote unquote, for those listening to the audio. We've got our world inside. We've got our main character who is, unbeknownst to him, volunteering to be sent out into the field to work for this guy that is the leading expert in kaiju.
Again, I hesitate to say like modern, but like 1900s.
Quote, yes. More modern than the Wild West.
More modern than the start of the Wild West.
Yeah, it's not carriages and, I guess they had train, whatever.
Doesn't matter. It's fantasy.
Yeah, it's not super important. It's a Western.
It's a Western. So we've established...
We've got our world. That is
the world building. We've established
rich.
some of the characters. Mm-hmm. Now, what happens?
What happens? What is our pilot episode? So we've got to have... Our character gets out. That's a big part. Is our character coming in, learning the world, getting introduced to all of these things and teaching our audience what it is. He meets the hunter that he's going to partner up with now. He learns that... he learns all of the rules essentially to hunting and or controlling these kaiju populace. What is our monster of the pilot?
I think the monster of the pilot should be two different things. I think one, we got to
establish our big monster.
You establish what the world is in the first few minutes, which is you got to have the cold open badass martial. I don't even know if it's 15 minutes. I think it's like 2 minutes. It is.
Oh, you're talking about the cold open.
I'm talking about the cold open right now. It is. What's something super tropey Western? You've got shootout. You've got.
I think you've got this guy. I think we've got a group of bandits in whether it's a town or a mine or a small little mining town up in the mountains, and we've got our guy and a posse that are coming in there to clear it out. Not only are they the kaiju guys, but maybe our kaiju hunter is showing up to help regular marshals in a kaiju controlled area. There's kaiju there. They come through every once in a while. They migrate through.
I think
they're fighting these guys to clear out a slag mine, and a kaiju shows up.
I think it is
a big one.
I think it's like there's two bandits, two banditos, and
Frito Banditos?
They're Frito Bandito. They go, like you said, they go into a mine. Uh-huh. I think it starts with like 3 true U.S. Marshals, and they're like, last place we saw them was going into this mine, the such and such, but we do have. If
they're going to mine, they have to have. Gotta have a guy.
They're going into the mine, and they're like they went into this mine to try and lose us because they know we won't go in there. Somebody says, you got that little world building thing where it's like somebody's reported that a tier 3 has been sighted in this area near this mine. Yeah, they know we can't follow him in there.
Easy hard rule for a world. A tier 3 is usually a creature that hunts alone. Like they're not in packs.
Well, it's a creature that you're not going to
they're in small groups.
Mess around with.
Yeah.
You're
4s are solos, 3s are like 1 to 3 of them, 2s are usually packs.
You don't need a posse. You just need one. And so they're like, well, we got a telegram from
whatever, town X.
From wherever that they're sending, that there's one in the area and he's going to meet us. And you've got like the hothead one that's like, we don't have to wait around for him. Let's just go get him. There's nothing in there or it would have come out already. Let's just go get him.
Yeah.
So he kind of, Leroy Jenkins takes off in there and the other 2 have to follow him. they get into a shootout with these things, and then like with the camera work or like panning out into something larger, you realize very quickly that this shootout is not the scary thing that's happening here, as whatever this creature is begins to slink out.
Maybe it's one of our Wendigos.
Slink out from this mine, and it's like, it's still got like the stuff dripping off of it that is just eaten. Or
I think it kills the bandits. I think they go in to get the bandits, and this thing.
Oh, I think it certainly
already
kills
got
one of
one.
them.
Like
I think it certainly kills one of them. I think it kills probably one of the bandits and the like gung ho marshal.
I mean, one of the bandits runs out. That's what they arrest him, and he's like, get to see our guy go in.
No, they're like, get down on the ground, and he's like, run,
just shoot me,
just run. And they're like, get on the ground, and then they get him, and it's like comes out.
Yeah,
you see them shooting. Their guns aren't really doing much, and all of a sudden you get those Western shots, like the super wide. You see a man on a horse, super wide. So I think maybe it's cutting back and forth to that. You're seeing them, and you're seeing him like crest a hill, but always from far away. You can't see him. You see this like horse looking thing with him, and then it gets like you see his you see his indicators of like like you get the bandolier, you get the the poncho,
a bunch of different
you
kinds
get the
of
like
bullets.
Clint Eastwood like poncho, you get different kind of like some kind of look like teeth almost, some look like what, and he's got the whole bandolier
like
on.
track.
It's got like all kind of weird contraptions and stuff
Some big
on the side of the
bones,
horse,
like
and you're
splayed.
seeing the like horse, and you're like, that looks weird, and then you get to the head, and it's some kind of like
a fucking snake,
coyote or snake looking head or something, and it's like, what is this? And then you get the like cowboy shot from the dirt up, and you see like his back, and you see the gun on the holster.
You gotta get that tracking shot on the jib or the Patriot car where we come up from his boots up.
Yes, as you're like pulling around him,
and then we come around to the front, and
you finally get that like Clint Eastwood like hat over the eyes, cigar in the mouth shot, and he spits the cigar out, and they're like screaming, and this thing's ripped, and he's just goes into the whole cowboy shootout thing.
We get that sick that like when you meet a new monster in Monster Hunter. It's that cut scene where they're doing some shit you can't do in the game at all, but they do it in the game, in the cut scene.
Sure.
It's that where he does some crazy shit where you're like, wow, the fuck,
for sure,
and then he just fucking. Bow, 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 bow.
He for sure. You get the whole like cool fight scene between him and the monster. The other two marshals are injured, and they're like hiding in the corner or whatever. They manage to get away and sort of hide, and he kills this monster. And as he kills the monster, you see the other bandit getting away, and he kind of flees. You see him like dragging a foot or something as he finally gets away, and then you get that shot of him like behind a tree where he's like. He thinks he's gotten away or whatever, and he steps out, and you see the marshal step out, and
you see that cock of the hammer,
but it's like this gnarly looking revolver. You get the cock of the hammer, and you're like, oh, this is something totally different, and you get that like the monster's not the scary thing. This guy's the scary thing.
This is the scary thing. This is
the scary thing.
Nobody fucks with these guys.
This is the scary thing.
You saw what he did to a monster. Imagine what he could do to you.
Exactly. Maybe if we don't want to have the monster already there, we start on the cave. And before the bandits run in, you see like some sort of animal licking at whatever that stuff is. Then they come in, then the thing happens, and then all of a sudden this kaiju, so that the audience gets, maybe if we don't want to show that yet where they come from, then we don't show that yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to show that because that's things we can reveal.
Then we can show it later as like this creature shows up and drinks sort of.
I like the idea of this thing is it's maybe it's an old mine and this creature's just in there.
Yeah,
it's just in there, and they know something's supposed to be.
He kills this machine. You close on him throwing this this tied up bandit down in front of the other two marshals, and he pulls a knife out and begins carving up this kaiju he just killed.
Oh yeah,
and you're like, what? That leaves you with like, what the hell is a tear? What the hell is this kaiju thing? Why? What the hell is this special part of the marshals? What is all this? And why is he carving this thing up?
And we got to do a couple of things too, though. Like we have to see our regular marshals or even the bandits with there's a knife, and the knife breaks. A regular knife breaks on the skin of this monster. Bullets don't. They don't hurt him. They don't show anything to emphasize why he's got these.
You're getting all of these interesting things.
And it's those quick, and that's easy. It's an easy 5 minutes. Get that in. You could show a lot. 5 minutes, 5 pages, roughly 5 minutes of screen time, and then we got our title sequence. And then we bring in our kid.
Cut to the kid over in whatever town.
Yes.
He's going through school. He's asking about extracurricular stuff, and they're telling him, "Oh, we've got a job for you. We know you love kaijus. Ship him out." Like you said earlier, you see the gate. He goes through. He gets to town, and I guess something happens in his wagon caravan on the way to some town.
Yeah.
I wish we could pick an Alamo-esque town, but it's this old rundown fort, and I don't know why. Are there already people there? Or
I think
are
there's
they
towns.
Taking this place.
I mean, it would make sense why there's towns there.
Sure,
it's a huge area, in theory, and there's places, there's towns, and then there's the martial forts, and maybe he's going to one of those martial forts. He's going to our marshal's fort. So our marshal happens to be on the way back from killing a monster in a cave.
I think,
and maybe it's like this herd. Maybe it's some sort of a couple of boar creatures or whatever that attack. And we get to see him just it's nothing. Boom, boom. Or he takes the antler from whatever he killed in the cave.
I think we meet our gunslinger later. Mm-hmm. I think the kid gets to this town. He meets some people. He meets the researcher.
I thought you were saying you wanted him to be attacked on the route in the carriage.
I kind of did, but maybe some other marshals solve that, or there's something. I don't know what's going on.
I think he gets there and he has an escort. I think he has an escort of regular marshals, and he gets to the place just fine. But we have this short part where we're able to. It's calmer. We have this part. We've already seen him in the town. We've seen a thing. He's on his travels. We get to see a little bit of the technology, and we get to see a little bit of the world outside of the hunter's purview, where it's more of we get to see the class 1 creatures that are just grazing. We get to see the buffalo kaiju things that are in a herd eating off in the distance. Or
I think that he gets to that town.
That's when our Thunderbird flies over and we get the shout.
He gets to that town and something happens, and they're like, "Oh, our marshal's gone." Whatever our specific naming for the special kind of marshal, they're gone, and there's there've been disappearances in town. Stuff's been going missing. People have been going missing.
Yeah, this is our Act 1. This is our setup.
Animals have been going missing. And so he's meeting the researcher. He's talking about it. And then he's sort of tracking down what this could be.
Right, he's putting together what the creature might
be. He's
cataloging.
He's cataloging, and he's talking to people about it. And that's kind of the first thing the researcher tells him to do is just get out there, get among the people, figure it. And so he's doing all of these things. Then we have whatever this creature is that's stealing stuff. You're seeing it in the background. You're seeing some kid who's kind of wandered off in the distance, and then there's people crying about their kid missing. And then on the roof of the research building, you see a handful of 5 birds sort of hanging out up there. They fly off and they come back, and there's only 4 birds up there, and these things are going missing.
It's something that's hunting on the outside.
Some of a farmer's cows are going out, and it's okay, what's happening here? At some point, our kid, because he's the main character, is outside at night trying to figure out what's going on, and then he runs into this thing and has the whole he's able to barely fend it off, and so he doesn't die, and then it ends up in the pub or somewhere else, and it's going to kill all these people, and that's when the marshal kicks the doors in and he's back in town. And then you get the crazy fight between him and this creature, and he recognizes that the kid has enough gumption.
Kids helping him. Kids throwing things or distracting
things, or tells him a little bit about this creature, stuff that he's researched before.
Watch out for the spines,
and
they're poisonous.
It's enough for him to be this kid might be this much useful.
Yeah.
And you get that thing between them where they are unlikely buddies, and he sort of has a soft spot for the kid, but he's still going to be mean to him.
Yeah.
And goes back to the researcher, and he's tells him, we killed this thing, and here's what happened. And the researcher's that's more information that I've gotten on this creature in 2 years of knowing it existed. In 30 seconds of a shootout with this thing and you come back with parts and organs, you should go with this guy.
He's got to not want to first.
Oh, he doesn't.
Yeah, for sure.
To.
This kid's got to be like, fuck that.
He wanted a
I didn't want to be here
life.
to begin with.
He wanted a laboratory life.
Don't send me out to this shit.
This.
And that's our act 2. Our act 2 is him figuring out whether or not he's going to go do all this stuff and go with the hunter. Or sorry, that's our beginning of our act 3 that winds down.
I think Act 2. I think
Act 2 is the fight.
Act 2 ends culminates with the fight, and that's the turning point where he gets back to the researcher and is like, the researcher's like, you did all this in time, and it's like,
imagine if he had training.
It's like, do I want to be this or do I not want to be this?
Right, and that can be kind of our takeaway throughout the entire season too, is him coming to terms with, oh, I'm good at this.
Yeah, it's still in Act 1, he doesn't accept the challenge. It's like, okay, this is what I am here. This is what I have to do if I want to keep researching these things. But I want to research. I still want to know about kaijus bad enough. I think maybe the whole reason he's into it, you learn at some point, is that his family died to one that breached the grounds. It was one of those that got
over some class 5.
It was one of those that got out and destroyed part of a town, and it killed his family. And so he's grown up with this, I want to know everything there is to know about him, but he never knew that he had the power and will,
the fight or flight,
to truly do something about him. Yes, his fight or flight, even though he's been sheltered his whole life, is not
getting to see him in that while this kaiju's fighting and him trying to decide if he's going to help or not, and then just doing it. It's such a powerful moment because you get these shots. You could be under the table with him or behind the bar, and he's like, "Holy shit!" And here's the struggle. Grabs a bottle and chucks it, distract the monster, and tells him, watch out for X or Y, and they do this thing. But I think we end Act 3 or Act 5, depending on the act structure that we utilize. We end that with him coming to church. We end with him either going to the bar and finding our kaiju hunter, or
I think
we go to him at requisitions where we get to see our gynecologist and
stop.
We get to see our slagsmith work, and I like the idea of our hunter already having a gun for him.
I think that it ends I think that it ends with the kid deciding, this is what I'm going to do. And he goes and asks, and the guy's like, no. The guy's like, no. And he is very upset about it. And he goes back to the researcher, and then we follow that guy. And he goes to the gunsmith that we've already met, who's clearly there's clearly something there.
Yeah.
And you get that a little bit of their past, a little bit of their will they, won't they sort of thing.
Dude, I like the idea.
And then she says some name. She's like, that kid showed some grit. Kind of reminds me of such and such. And our marshal's face gets stone-ish, and he's like, yeah, well,
he's dead.
Probably not. And he leaves, and then you see him walk back to his room or his encampment or whatever, and he opens some box, and in that box is his first apprentice who died, and it's his guns.
Must not be very big.
It's his guns, and he just closes that and puts it right back in the drawer.
Yeah, this is to be found later.
And it's
later plot point.
It is. He does not want an apprentice for whatever reason, and then
I work alone.
Yeah, he works alone, and then at the end we'll have some reason to pull them back together again, or he leaves.
No, the biologist has got to make the call. Who's in charge? Is it the hunter, or is it the guy the hunter has to get all the shit for? So he makes the call and goes, I need my apprentice to go with this guy.
He calls the marshal.
He calls
the U.S. Marshal,
goes
send
over
a
his
telegram and say, you have to take this kid.
Have to.
And I think the true end of the episode is him going, the hell I do, and not doing it. And we see him get a call. They need him out in somewhere, and he hitches his wagon up, and he's got his whatever. Maybe it's a big one. He gets a call. That's what it is. It's
a 4.
We set up a 4. So he's got to go find his posse, and it's so that you want to see the next episode because it's an even bigger kaiju. He's got to go fight.
We've already got to see 2 get fought.
But instead of like riding his horse alone, he hitches the wagon up and takes off in the wagon. And you see the back of the wagon, the thing opens up, and there's the kid, and he closes the wagon back up. So he's hiding in the back of the wagon as he's supposed to be going with this guy. So you see him still be like, no, and he's going to get miles and miles down the road. And
I like that a lot because that gives us our open of our episode 2. Is him going
figuring out that the kid's back there.
Well, no, the open to our episode 2 is him going to the gunsmith, and the kid is getting his requisitions. And we get to see him go and do the thing. That's the cold open. And then we have our title sequence. And then we're fucking in it.
Yes.
Because it established we with episode 2, that 5-minute open, we get to establish that timeline of how he got his gun, who believes him, who wants him to do it, who wants to do all these things, and we've condensed it all into one section without having to show it into a pilot and take up time. Show it the open of our second episode.
As soon as he gets out there and the guy discovers him, he takes the gun.
For sure.
He's like, you certainly are not ready.
He's got to earn that
yet.
gun.
And he earns it. So in episode 2, you'll get meeting some other members of these specific Marshall's group, and they'll have stories about the main character, and they kind of like take the young kid in.
Oh, with the posse?
And,
yeah.
And so like he shows
They've
up.
got
with
him
his
shooting
posse.
targets in the back.
They show up, and like the posse guys are like, hell yeah, man, come on. We love messing with this guy, sure, but like they truly
remember the last time we hunted a 4?
They truly love him, and they are like equally caliber hunters. You know, they're very good at their job.
We get to get
they're
some ghost
excited
stories.
to be together. Well, that's when you get the best stories, and so the kid will get to interact, and you'll get you are getting the promise at the end of the first episode that he's joining the posse.
Yeah,
you're gonna get more lore from that. You're gonna see an even bigger kaiju, and the kid's gonna be.
And it's just going to continue.
The kid might be joining the Marshalls.
And eventually we'll establish our larger monster, the overarching for the season or whatever is going on. If it's our Donner Party that we talked about before.
Welcome to the conclusion. We found it best to take a cut during these episodes because there's a lot of naming things that has to go on. You've heard the things that we've created and why we've come up with them, but us sitting on the computer, Googling things, talking to each other about whether or not this name sounds good or that name sounds good was pretty boring. A lot of silence is not good for a podcast.
Silence and keyboard clipping.
Yeah, so we've decided to come back and make this conclusionary part of the podcast, which we're going to call the first draft. This is the story culmination that we've made today. We're going to tell you beat by beat what goes on in this pilot episode. There may be some changes, clerical errors that get fixed. Something might not align exactly with what we had said earlier, but know that it changed in the act of naming things or in the act of Googling things to see if something had already been done, if a name had already been used, if something was already, trademarked. We don't want to run into the exact same name of someone else's intellectual property. So there may be some changes, but mostly this portion is just going to be giving you the first draft of this idea.
Yeah, just a quick 15, 20-minute rundown of...
A quick 20, 30, 45-minute rundown.
Exactly. It can only be, an hour and a half? Come on. So let's get into the beginning of it. So we got to start with our cold open. We kind of discussed that a little bit in the episode.
Sure.
And that is, we start on our U.S. Marshals out in our zone that we settled with the name, the KCT, which is the Kaiju Containment Territories.
The Kaiju Containment Territories, which are... the
Wild West.
The Wild West, basically. It is
anything beyond the wall.
It is this wall that has been created. The wall follows the Ohio River into the Mississippi River. Everything east of it is normal territory, no kaijus. Everything west of it is a bad place to be.
It's a bad place, and it's made up of the 1830s kind of period of that time where you've got Mexico's got a lot of territory. France has some territory with Canada and things like that, and that space.
It is truly the Wild West, but also there be monsters here.
There be monsters in these.
So we open on the Marshals chasing some fugitives. They're chasing them through this desert, and the fugitives end up holding up in this cavern, not knowing that the cavern was previously a mine of some kind. Well, we know what it was. You know what it was. It was a mine of what, if you talked to the U.S. government, they would call naphthalide. Naphthalide is this ore. Instead of how we said it was purple earlier, we've decided that it is an amber color, a golden color. The reason it is this golden color is because, 49ers going into these hills, mining out this gold, they found this stuff. And this is what we've talked about earlier, this stuff that is a fuel and the creation of the kaijus. Well, that's what the government might call it. But normal people in the KCT call it wax gold.
That's the solid version of the material, yeah.
And solid, it's almost an amber. It is that like hard stuff, but also a little pliable.
Yeah, somewhat malleable. It's that.
And when you use water or things to blast it out, you end up with the runoff from it that we had been calling a different word that we couldn't use. We now the government would call that naphthalene brine, which is a runoff material of the fracking or creation of this fuel source, commonly referred to in the KCT as dredge. Wax gold is the material itself, and dredge is what is the ingesting or turning into.
This is what's getting into our water supplies
these
and
creatures.
Monsters. Yeah.
So we open on this.
Super not good for you.
Yeah, we open on this. The fugitives have run into this cavern.
Yes.
The marshals are standing there, and
they get up there. They're getting ready. All right, we got to go in. We got to get these guys out of there. Presumably they're stealing this naphthalide, excuse me, and they're going in. But they're on their way in. We got screaming, shouting.
They know that there are kaiju in this zone, and they should probably wait for backup. But they're the U.S. Marshals. They're going to go in and get these fugitives.
They got guns.
It's fine. Well, not so much. Because they start this shootout, and you get the cool cowboy shootout with the marshals and the guys. Well, unbeknownst to them, in shooting guns inside this cavern, they awaken the kaiju that has been transformed inside this place.
Living in this mine, living with the chemical runoff of all of these things. It's big. It's mean. We're looking at, 2, almost to 3 kind of dangerous
a large
creature
one. It's dangerous. You certainly don't want to be in there alone. So as these marshals are fighting the banditos or whatever they are, this creature awakens from inside and bursts through this cavern and begins attacking. One of the bandits is wrecked and thrown to the side. Some of the marshals who are outside as it bursts through, the other bandit goes running. One of the marshals gets chomped and is, bleeding out on the ground. Throughout all of these things,
we're going to see these cuts of
throughout all of these things interspersed.
Our lead marshal of the specialized division of the Wardens, which is we've settled on the name U.S. Marshal Warden Division.
Yeah, the United States Federal Marshals Wardens Division. The Wardens are these very hunter-focused, kaiju-focused versions of the marshals. The marshals themselves act like normal marshals would. They hunt down people. They bring people to justice. They protect trains. They do all of these things that they would do, law enforcement for the federal government. Specifically, the wardens patrol these territories within the KCT.
They handle the kaiju. They handle the naphthalene.
They handle naphthalene, naphthalide-related instances.
Yeah.
And that's why you would want to wait on those if you knew you were in an active area with kaiju.
Yeah, you want that guy.
But you chose not to. So you see this guy riding on his horse.
We get our silhouettes. We don't quite get to see what he is or what he's on, but it's a marshal. He looks like a marshal, but it's not quite.
Looks like he shows up. Things are different.
He shows up and fights this thing, and it's beautiful.
So, of course, the marshals themselves are thrown to the side, and they're sort of regretting their thing, tending to their injured guy. As this, finally, through these interspersed things, the warden shows up. The warden pulls his gun, has a crazy fight with this kaiju, and you see the other marshals that are caring for their friend are totally outclassed by this guy. These might as well just be normal civilians standing there as comparatively speaking to this guy. One of the, the one laying on the ground is screaming in pain. The other two look at each other. One of them, as he rides in, he jumps off the horse, immediately pulls his gun and is ready to fight. And you see the two marshals having a conversation. The two marshals, the first one is like, is that Silas Kinsey?
And we get this introduction of Silas Kinsey of Fort Waldron. And we don't get to know.
You don't get to know much about him, but it's clear that these guys know who it is. One says, "Is that Silas Kinsey?" And the other one's like, "You mean the one who fought at Los Suppress?" What? And they are shocked by this guy. You don't know what any of that means, but you see this guy absolutely take out this kaiju like it's nothing, and then he goes taking off into the wilderness and catches the other bandit behind a rock, who looks up at him, expecting to try and run away again, and sees this badass dude and this dead kaiju in the background and just gives up.
It's not a fight you're going to win.
The point of this is you see this horrible creature, you see what it's capable of, but by the end of the cold open, you're not scared of the kaiju. You're scared of this guy.
Right, you realize the kaijus are dangerous. This guy's more. This hunts the hunter.
Something else.
But
the ending of that cold open is him dragging the bandito back to the other two marshals, dropping him off.
Taking a sample from the monster.
Tied up, taking something from the monster. You see him like carving away at it.
Taking a horn, taking some scales, whatever.
He gets back on this creature that you thought was a horse that he rode in on, and it is something else. It is part horse, part coyote maybe, part something else, and a little too large. And he rides back off into the sunset.
A little too fast.
A little too fast. He rides back off into the sunset.
Yes. So we get to, in our cold open, we get to introduce a little bit of our marshals. You get to meet our lead marshal, our hunter character, the warden, Silas Kinsey. And that takes us into our Act 1, which opens up. We open up in a small apartment in our main city in the east, inside of the wall. And we come into an apartment. It's full of research materials. It's full of information on kaijus, biology, studies, tests, all these things. A lot of it looks like homework, right? And get this, we got a young man. He's gathering his things. He's getting his bag together. He takes off. We're in this 1830s era city. It's big. It's beautiful. It's loud. And it's a lot of people in a small space.
Yeah, and he is heading to class of some sort. You see him sort of walking through this college campus, and he reaches his class that he's supposed to go to. He sits in the class with this professor. You can see it's some sort of biology course that he's in. Mm-hmm. It's clear that this is a science building. He's taking biology. You could see from all the posters and things that he's very much into kaijus. Well, there's a whole territory for that. People don't really know much about them.
People in the city don't want to deal with that.
They don't want to deal with that. They don't want to talk about that. So you see, after the class, the professor flags him down before he can leave and tells him to come over and sort of explains to him that, hey, I know you were looking for internships in biology. You've kind of turned down a couple of them. You're not interested in the ones. Well, I finally found the one for you.
Boy, do I have a job for you.
Somebody from the KCT has reached out, a biologist, a researcher has reached out and says, hey, I need an assistant. I need a grad assistant. So this professor has gotten a call because it's a prestigious biology course at this university. And they say, hey, if you have anybody that's interested in coming out to the KCT.
We've got a guy. We've got the leading expert on kaiju.
But the leading expert on kaijus needs a new assistant. So, of course, on the spot, this kid takes it and says, of course, that's all I want to do. I can't learn about kaijus here. I know everything I need to know about biology, but the only way I'm really going to get the experience is going out here. So I think, honestly, this is something on the fly. I think that he leaves, he gets on a train, and he's headed out through the, you get that picturesque, almost Jurassic Park, him going through the wall. You get that him going into the thing, the KCT. You see him get on the train.
We get our 10,000 feet up in the air perspective of this zone.
I think at some point he's riding on that train and maybe he falls asleep and you get a little bit of his backstory, which is sort of the reason why he's very interested in kaijus. You get little snippets.
Sure, maybe we had a flashback of some kind or a conversation with his parents before the accident that happened with the kaiju.
You get a little snippet of
what drove him to want to pursue kaiju information.
Of why he's interested in kaijus, because there have been kaijus that have been known to get through the wall.
To get through the wall, they go around the wall, they get up and over,
somehow
they go through the water.
They get there. He may have been part of some sort of attack on a city that killed a lot of people he knows.
Yeah.
And so his interest in kaijus has only risen since then. So he ends up on this train out in the KCT.
Thinking he's going to take a train the whole way there. Like he's a city boy.
Yeah.
This is what he's used to. And that train stops. He gets off. And out there waiting for him is a wagon full of supplies.
They've told him, you're taking this train. You'll be in Fort Waldron, behind some big walls of a fort. You'll be totally safe. You'll be in a laboratory. Well, he doesn't make it all the way to Fort Waldron. He ends up a couple 100 miles away, and the train ends. And like you said, he gets on a wagon train, and now he's got to go the rest of the way through the desert. And you get those like snippets of him like sneezing sand, or like trying to take a leak, and some snakes trying to bite him, or like
stumbles through a cactus patch.
You get the funny like city boy falls into a cactus thing on his way out, just like little quick snippets of that, until he actually arrives in Fort Waldron, which is this large fort now that has sort of it's on the cusp of the territories within this place. As you get further,
it's contested space, essentially.
Yeah, closer to the, even though you're in the KCT, if you're closer to the wall, that's more occupied territory. You're not as likely to run into kaijus. There's more patrols. There's defenses on the wall. Hit by a bandit. You still, your train might get robbed. There's still like the Wild West to deal with. But the further you get from that wall, the further you get west, you get to the cusp of civilization. And right now, Fort Waldron is pretty much the end. Everything west of that is...
It is only wardens.
It is only wardens, and you are...
You might hit the occasional settlement. You might hit the something now and then, another
miners out there. Like, you get past the Dakota, you get to the Black Hills, and you get to Texas-ish, and you're reaching the end of civilization. You still may run into kaijus in there, and you still may run into bad guys in there, but anything further, oops, all kaijus, all bad guys.
Yeah.
So he makes it to this fort, which is this large fortified place. There are bustling people. It is one of the larger places. It probably is the largest territory occupied by people that far out.
Oh,
it's the last one. It's the last stop on the train.
Wagon.
Well, I guess somewhere further is the last stop on the train, and this is the wagon. Whatever.
If you're out there, you're important. People know who you are. You're there for a reason.
You're there for a reason.
And that's when he gets to go out and he gets to finally meet this professor, this leading expert on kaiju biology, Professor Yoshinori Kimura, who is, which is fun. Naming him, we found the two leading biological experts.
The two most famous biologists from Japan. And we sort of smashed their names together and created this biologist in summation of the two of them. This guy is an older guy who, I don't even know if we said our main character's name.
We haven't.
Morgan Whitaker is our main character's name. So Morgan gets off the wagon train and ends up in this
kind
fort.
of late teens, early 20s.
And you see him looking around, people tanning hides, people doing things in the fort, some soldiers moving around. Anyway, somebody escorts him into this fort and finds the lab, and he meets Yoshinori, who is a character.
He's a character.
He is an older guy.
He's your ornery,
crotchety, sort of feeble. He sort of steps around the counter, and you notice that he's missing the majority of his leg.
Yeah, he's got some kaiju augmented prosthetic from the armorer. He's got this whole thing going on.
And he meets Morgan, and Morgan very energetically introduces himself and is super excited to go around the lab and help him out with his experiments. And you can see Yoshinori is like, that's not what you're here for. And very quickly he learns that this guy's very particular, and he's not really going to be the right hand of this guy and get to sit in there and do experiments.
He didn't need
all the things
partner.
He wants to do. He didn't need a partner. He needs
a bitch boy.
He needs a hand. He needs a farm hand. And that means this kid's going to do all of his chores. This kid needs to go around to where they may find dead kaijus and take whatever samples he can. Just the worst parts of
he's pulling the fecal samples from the stables of the weird warden horse things.
Yeah, he is. And you get this montage of him doing all of the annoying shit work that this guy does not want to do. He's too old. He's too famous. He's the leading expert on kaijus. He's not going to do any of this.
So while Morgan is beginning to hate this new job position that he's got, kind of comes across this, not necessarily a mystery, but these happenstances around the area. Things are going missing. People's pets are getting gone, not maybe eaten.
It's also like farm, any animal, livestock that people are bringing into the fort, maybe for like a sailing yard.
Things are going missing, materials.
It's
weird.
It culminates with a person going missing.
Yes.
And it becomes, this isn't somebody stealing livestock. This is something else is happening within the fort.
Something's going on, and who better to investigate than someone bored and is done shoveling shit?
Exactly. Who really wants to know what kaijus are.
Is this a kaiju? Like,
yeah.
It could be.
So he begins his investigation, sort of shirking his chores and investigating around to see what he can figure out, when he starts coming across different pieces of evidence that may lead him to believe that there is some sort of kaiju that is responsible. That somebody is missing an animal, and he goes and looks through the stage.
The horse droppings don't seem like they're horse droppings.
Yeah, it's
there's a kind of a weird hole in the wall, and this fence is torn open.
Really look right. They're of a creature that maybe should be smaller than that. These are large.
Kind of putting his biological expertise or experience, maybe is a better way to say it, into play.
Yeah, and so like the birds that are roosting in one of the barns, like stables there where they would sell. There should be a lot of birds in there, and you would normally thinking there's eggs missing, and there's birds that aren't there anymore. There's just one bird sitting in there peeping when it should be a bunch. There should be maggots in all of the fecal piles, and the bird should be eating all of that stuff. And it's like, where are all the creatures at? What's going on?
Something's either scared them away or taken.
And the like burrows and things. That's like, okay, what's going on? Anyway, at some point, he decides that he needs more information. Well, he tries to get some from Yoshinori, who's not even about to give him any information. He doesn't need to know information.
That's not what he's here to do.
You're the farmhand, basically.
But who better to ask than
he asks
someone who
around,
makes the weapons?
And he finds out that there is a person there whose job is to craft different implements and help the army out, but also help the wardens out. Any pieces of these kaiju or bullets that they need that are special are crafted by this armorist. And so there is an armorist in Fort Waldron.
Yes. Specialized weapons, equipment, protective gear, all sorts of, like, you name it. This is what she does. This is her specialty and her team.
So he goes to this blacksmithing shop, basically, and meets Kate Xiang.
Yes.
And Kate Xiang is a very fun character
she's great. We got super excited about her.
She is.
We learned that Xiang is a Tibetan monk, Tibetan Buddhist group.
We picked it because it meant gun. It meant gun, and then we learned that it was also the name of this like Tibetan nomadic group.
So developing that story,
and so we developed that into her mom was like a Southern belle, and she at some point like went through China and met.
Yeah, her dad was a monk until he met her mom.
Her joke is that her dad was a Tibetan monk until he met mom. and so she comes over,
and we get to see a picture at some point, and we're like, damn.
Yeah, we really wanted to integrate like some of
to make it funny,
the immigration things that were in the Wild West, like the creation of the railroads and all this kind of stuff. Like it brought in
this
different
origination of this melting pot that it
different
became.
Walks of all life. So we really wanted to like have those characters sort of appear in these kind of things. So she is a fireball. She is spicy when she needs to be spicy.
But she's got that Georgia peach.
She's got the Georgia peach talk. Just a wonderful character. So he goes and meets with her, and she is very much like currently banging on some anvil. Like she is crafting something, and he interrupts her, and she's a very like clipped is the wrong word.
Short fused.
But short fused. And so she's got this random new kid in here asking about things.
Middle of a fucking project.
She's in the middle of a project trying to do it. And so she's giving him like little bits of information, but it's mostly stuff that he's already heard. He's just happening to hear it from somebody on the frontier. This is the grizzled person sort of giving him information, but she's not really grizzled. She's not out there shooting.
If you ever done a blue collar job or maybe military, and you go and ask your superior some questions while you're in the field, they're gonna cheat you.
Well, it's like a blue collar person with some dork that's never done anything with their hands comes up and asks you about what tool you're using. You're like,
you guys need extras?
Go away. Yes, dude. Do you need extras? Can I be in the movie? That kind of person. So to her, it's an annoyance, and she sort of brushes it off. But she gives him enough information that he may learn a new thing or two. He continues doing his terrible chores, but he is investigating this on the side. Eventually, he ends up in one of these stables. He realizes that these whatever this creature is, it's hanging around the stables. It's moving around silently. Nobody has seen it. It only shows up at night. And he eventually comes face to face with this creature. It is a giant rat-like kaiju that is probably 4 or 5 feet tall, just gnarled looking rat.
Just a nasty thing.
And he learns very quickly that the city boy who comes out here and has no weapons and doesn't know what he's doing is not even a match for a kaiju
of like a level 1.
Of a level 1 or level 2 kaiju. It immediately jumps out at him and is trying to maul him.
Yeah, we get to scramble, we get to throw down, try to escape.
To get away with it, throwing pitchforks, throwing torches, whatever he can get to sort of get this creature off of it.
Breaks an old knife off on it.
Cannot kill this thing.
Yeah.
And then you hear the doors get kicked open and you see Silas Kinsey's back in town.
Hell yeah.
And you see that this struggle that was a life and death struggle for Morgan is nothing to Silas, who immediately comes in, tosses it to the side, makes a couple of quick moves, lures it into one of the stalls and kills it.
Puts it down.
And he, of course, doesn't care much. This kid thanks him. He's, trying to get more information out of Silas, and Silas is not having any of it. To him, it's just some citizen that he just saved. Whatever. Don't come out in the stables at night if you think there's a kaiju dump.
You can't handle it, don't be here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hitting him with that. So
city boy.
Silas, leaves, and the only thing the kid can do is take this entire kaiju that just got killed back to Yoshinori.
Right. He can't cut it. Can't damage it with anything.
So he shows back up at the laboratory with an entire sample of this creature, and Yoshinori is ecstatic.
Oh, it loses his mind.
He's used to having fecal samples and maybe a claw or toe or DNA samples or whatever.
Whatever the wardens could fit in their pocket.
Yeah. And now he has an entire creature that has just been dragged into his office. And so there is sort of a change in him with Morgan where he's like, okay, maybe you're not the stable bitch boy. Maybe you need to go follow this guy around. You need to find the wardens. You need to find the marshals. You need to follow them around because where they drop something, you need to take it, put it in a wagon, and bring it back here to me.
And Silas ain't having none of it.
Silas is not having any of it.
No.
So, yeah, the kid goes and finds Silas and is trying to convince him, hey, I need to tag along with you, which goes over about as well as you would imagine.
Right. I want to keep my job. This guy's going to get rid of me. He's going to replace
Silas
me.
is not interested in having some random civilian following him around.
Right, better be fired than dead.
Yes. So during all of this, we realize at some point that whatever it was that they caught, people are still going missing.
Yes.
Animals are still going missing. Whatever the day is they thought they saved from this kaiju that was in the fort secretly, stuff's still going on. It didn't stop whatever it was. So then you get both of them figuring this out, doing their own sort of investigation separately. You've got Silas who's going around doing the tracking, hunter, sniffing, seeing the footprints and trying to figure out what's going on. And you got your more analytical guy who's asking around, figuring out what's happening, testing these samples to see, something seems like it's the same.
Right, these behaviors are similar.
He's like, no, it's got to be the rat
It's got to be another one.
It's hiding. It doesn't come out in the day. It prefers places with other animals. It eats a little bit of something and then leaves. It's not like
Yeah.
a predatory creature. But
So they're putting together the same pieces of the puzzle in different
ways, they're
Yes.
coming to the conclusion that
sectors.
Silas says this isn't a rat. This is too big. The foot.
Right. Leave this to the
things don't
professionals,
match.
honey.
There's too many footprints. The tail drag doesn't make any sense. This thing is big.
Right, there's multiple
it's taking
tails, there's
down
multiple
larger
legs.
creatures than that 4-foot tall rat.
that
could.
little rat.
But to him,
That's what I'm- yeah.
when you fight level 4, whatever tier 4 kaijus, it's just a rat.
Yeah.
To the kid,
It's
it's
literally
the
a
biggest
rat.
biggest rat he's ever seen. Anyway, the kid is convinced that it's a rat, and Silas is convinced that it's too big. It's not that kind of creature. Something else is doing this.
Yes.
In the end, they end up pointed together in some sort of like whatever sewer like
Yeah, paths converge to this
paths
thing.
converge to them finding out where
Sewer
this
runoff for the
creature
fort of
is.
some kind.
And so they converge together, and they're in this darkened cavern where whatever runoff from the fort itself.
Silas is trying to get him the fuck out of there.
Silas, he's sneaking through this thing, and of course the kid is like splash, 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 trying to look for whatever it is, and so he's like, stop doing that. And right when he's about to take him back up to the surface and make him go away, you see the head of this same little 4-foot rat kind of coming out of the wall.
A few too many noises coming from the one.
And then,
rat, though.
Silas immediately, does the classic like commando shush the kid and hold him and get the gun ready. And that's when you see more little rat heads. And you think maybe it's a whole pack of rats until it comes out of the whole thing. And it's this Hydra rat. One
amorphous
massive rat body with a bunch of rat tails coming out of the back of it. Cronenbergian, multiple rat heads sort of coming out of this thing. It's
the Rat King.
This might be a 3 or 4. This is a gnarly creature.
Yes.
And so it comes out and it's not
a
rat.
You kill one head, it's just dragging the other ones around.
Exactly. So the kid's like, it is a rat, very quietly. And then you see all of the heads, and Silas goes, it ain't a rat. It's a rat king. And this creature comes out, this amorphous thing, and it's chasing them through whatever tunnel this is. And, they're splashing and getting pushed out of the way. And you see them having to fight this thing through the sewers itself. When they have finally outsmart it by coming out one of the smaller gaps, you can see multiple heads of these rats, and he's just blasting away at this thing. At some point, they're able to actually put this creature down as it comes running.
Yeah, maybe they learn how to separate it and sever a tile. There's a way to kill it. There's a trick to it.
It uses the two of them, I think. They're able to separate its attention because there are two of them. And the rats the heads begin to fight at which one they should be focusing on.
Right, it's like when they get interconnected and they can't escape. And it basically
like an actual rat.
And you sever the lifeline.
They can't figure out which way to go.
Yeah, you
because
get in the middle.
They're focused on two different things, and they finally maybe they pull apart, and there's clearly one like deformed head.
It's clearly Morgan's idea. Morgan's got to be like, this type of thing happens.
It's like separate.
This is how they die.
They're not in control, so they push apart from you. They both cowboy
one
dodge
mind.
roll apart, and it can't focus. And some of the rats are pulling that way, and it exposes some sort of like fleshy portion in the middle,
The heart.
and they're able to blast this thing and kill it.
The core of this thing.
Yeah, so this creature dies, and of course the biologist is thrilled. He thought he had one little rat, and now he's got a whole.
Now he's got this unique thing. No one's ever seen one of these before. It's
got
the
like
first one.
tier
Oh my
3
God.
Tier 3 creature that's just drop dead, and he gets to examine the whole thing. So he tells the kid, "Hey, I know we talked about it before. You have to follow this guy. Your job is now to follow this guy.
You want to keep this job?
Find these things. Figure it out. If you want to know about kaijus, I'll let you in the lab. We'll do all the cool stuff, but you have to follow this guy around."
Yes.
At the same time this is happening, you see Silas go back to the armorer. He's been gone. You saw in the cold open that he's been away. He's been doing something, so he's come back. Now he needs to rearm, reload.
Needs a lot more ammunition now.
Do some things because he wasn't expecting to fight another one in here.
Yeah.
So you see him and Kate interacting.
There's something
and it's,
there.
God, it's a will they, won't they?
Yeah, it's a will they, won't they.
100%.
It's going to drag on for seasons. It's
There
going to
is
make you want more.
something there.
You're going to be sitting there just guess already. He's this hard ass. She's this firecracker. It's going to be beautiful.
For sure. And she's saying, hey, this kid really helped you. Like, you told me about it.
Like,
the kid really
hey,
helped
I
you.
chewed him out earlier, but like he's actually a good kid and
Like,
he's smart.
She's like, he's a smart kid. He was asking me questions. I didn't really give him the time of day. He was able to track a kaiju by himself and then track a whole other one. She's like, maybe you should consider training him to be a warden. You guys are allowed to take apprentices, which Silas shuts down immediately.
Yeah. I don't take
You
apprentices.
could kind of see them getting closer and closer to each other. And then as soon as she brings up the apprentice, that moment's over.
That wall comes back up.
It's back to a won't they? And
you don't get to see the Silas's wall come down much. Kate can bring it down, but there's certain things that doesn't matter.
Kate can, like a garage
dial
door,
it.
Kate can give it a little crack at the bottom.
She can just hit the button.
Nothing else works. Anyway, he immediately storms off, and you see her, give him one last look that's like, maybe one day.
Come on.
He leaves. You see the kid catch up to him, and it's like, hey, I'm going to follow you around. I need to do all this stuff. Like, I've been told I'm supposed to follow you, and Silas very quickly is like, hell no. You go do your thing. I'm going to do mine. Ends up back in his own room, and you get a small shot of Silas.
We get a little
In
backstory.
his room in the darkness. He's always got his guns at his side. You see them. They're awesome. Got some badass kaiju-infused revolvers. Like, they're sick. He opens this small wooden box. You see another revolver in it. And maybe it's a picture or a letter or something of him and some other person, but you immediately get the sense that the reason it got shut down was because he had an apprentice at some point, and this was the gun for that apprentice. And he is not interested in taking an apprentice anymore. Whatever this story was,
This shit's dangerous.
it's dangerous for him and for everyone.
Yeah.
He closes that box, he slams it back closed in whatever his room in the fort is, and goes to sleep with his clothes on. Lays down on the bed, which he's not used to. He's more of an out-in-the-field kind of guy. Goes to sleep. At this point, somebody comes knocking on his door in the middle of the night. He opens the door. Some person there at the fort is like, you got a telegram, an emergency telegram.
Right. We've got orders. There's something out there right now.
From the federal marshals.
Yes.
You've got, basically, big government has...
Head of the division is saying, hey, there's something out
There's a
here. We
thing.
need you to go get.
So he goes to this room and they read this thing off to him that says, level 4 kaiju attack imminent in whatever this place is in this other territory.
Yeah, something's moving toward the wall. We need to intercept it.
Posse necessary.
Yes.
So you see him get this sort of look on his face, and it cuts to him loading stuff up. You see
Boys are back in town. Starts blasting
boys-
over the radio.
So he's loading stuff up, and you see maybe Kate is there, and
Kate's got the
Kate's
gear
like,
out.
"So, gonna go see your boys again, yeah?" And he's like, "It's been a while." She said, "Probably years. Getting the band back together, I guess." And you sort of get a little picture in her head of he knows whoever he's going to. Level 4 kaiju.
He's got his team.
You can't go fight a 4 alone. His team is going to show up.
And it's got to be. I mean, it's a posse.
And
It's your posse.
You haven't seen this guy smile the whole time. The thought of seeing his guys, there's a little smirk on his face.
A little brevity.
He hadn't seen his boys in a while. He gets in the wagon.
Hunting trip.
He gets in the wagon, and you see her, give him a nice little wave by, and he waves. The wagon starts rolling out of the fence.
Dog, I like.
She's not waving it.
She's not waving at
She's not
him.
waving at him.
She's waving, and he's like, he gives that like little
He gives
like.
that like,
and we
okay, I
tilt
would
down.
normally do this. You tilt down, and you see in this little chest riding on the back of his cabin, you see the chest open. You see the kid wave at Kate. Morgan waves at Kate and closes the chest back up as that wagon rolls off into the second episode. You get the promise that you're going to meet his posse. You might get a little bit of backstory about Silas, which is what all you've wanted is a little bit of Silas. You're going to meet more wardens.
Yeah, what's this guy done?
You're going to see them fight a level 4. You're going to see the kid.
See Morgan freak out about fighting level 4.
Morgan have some more freakouts, and
can see some of
maybe
the world.
the promise of some apprenticeship style things, because you can't send him home now.
Too late.
It's too
Put him to
late.
work.
And that is the pilot episode of Cowboys and Kaijus.
Cowboys and The Adventures of Morgan and Silas. Silas and Morgan.
Adventures of Silas and Morgan. I think it's a great pilot and a great place to end. You get the promises of a lot of things in the future, the promise of things in a second episode.
And it keeps you wanting more. It set the groundwork for so many different elements of this world.
And hopefully,
just get deeper.
And hopefully, it gives the audience a reason to watch an episode 2 for us.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, if you've liked this too, and and in later episodes as well, and you've enjoyed this process, and you really, really like this episode, for instance, you want episode 2.
You want more.
Let us know. We're open to that.
Eventually, we'll come back around to this maybe.
Because we want to.
We've still got a chest full of stuff. More stories to come. So thanks for being with us. Like, subscribe, find us on whatever platform you listen to.
Yep, we're going to be on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Tell your friends. And thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week.
We appreciate you listening to a lot of non-essential dialogue.